So I'm sitting here with Dr. George, the lady who did my TMS treatment. Tell me, what kind of doctors do you go to get this treatment? So what kind of a doctor are you?
So I am a psychiatrist. I am double board certified in child and adolescent psychiatry and adult psychiatry. So I did go to medical school. I have an MD. It is good to go to an MD for your treatments. There are other people out there doing it, APRNs and VAs, but I highly recommend, of course, going to an MD.
MD is the best to pick when you're looking for this treatment.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Well, and psychiatrists in particular, because this is our specialty.
Yeah.
Depression, anxiety, PTSD.
Okay. What does TMS stand for?
Transcranial, meaning through the cranium or the skull. Magnetic, because it uses magnets, magnetic field to do the stimulation. And then the S is for stimulation. So transcranial magnetic stimulation.
So it's not just brain zapping like I've been saying everybody on my show. I keep joking around that I'm going in for my brain zapping. Everybody's like, what? But it actually is transcranial magnetic stimulation is what it's called.
That's correct.
Okay. How is it approved through the FDA? What's the uses that it's approved for at the moment?
So currently, the brain sway device that we use is FDA approved for treatment-resistant depression, OCD or obsessive compulsive disorder, and smoking cessation.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, yeah. Interesting. Okay. So is that all that it treats, or are there other things off the FDA approved thing that you can use it for?
Yeah, there are what we call off-label treatments that are not FDA approved yet. In Europe, they are using it for a variety of other psychiatric or mental health issues, including PTSD and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and autism. And yeah, so there's quite a few.
So I started it after 2 weeks, I started noticing I was feeling significantly better. And so I came in just as a depression treatment because they always put me on antidepressants and I go berserk. And Mike's like, you're never going on those things again. And every time I try it again, he's like, you're never going on those things again. So I tried it for that. But after 2 weeks, I started feeling significantly better. So that we even had Mike come in and do an off-label treatment for PTSD and anxiety. And we've noticed a huge change in his anxiety. We're both sleeping much better, and we're both just feeling perkier, and we're doing all this in the middle of a big move. So I'm anxious to see in 2 or 3 weeks how we're doing when we're settled a little bit more. But in our family, we used it for me on-label treatment and for Mike off-label treatment. So we kind of have both sides of the spectrum for that.
And you're putting it to the test by doing it during a move.
I certainly am, and I'm surviving, so that's good. How long, so what does the treatment entail?
So the standard FDA protocol for treatment-resistant depression is 36 treatments. That is 5 treatments per week for 6 weeks in the acute phase, and then a taper of 3 the next week, 2 and 1 the last week. So a total of 9 weeks, with the last 3 weeks being the taper.
Okay. And then if you're using it off-label, so Mike didn't go as long as I did.
Right. For PTSD, there's a specific protocol that did get researched in a small number of people, which showed significant benefit. And for that indication, it's 3 times a week for 4 weeks, so only 12 treatments.
Okay. Does insurance cover this?
It does not cover off-label treatments. It does cover for treatment-resistant depression if you meet the insurance requirements, which can vary from one insurance to another. A lot of them are similar, but not the same.
So you basically have to talk to your doctor to see if your insurance would cover it or not.
Correct.
Yeah.
You have to undergo an evaluation, and the doctor needs to kind of record what your baseline symptoms are, and then check with your insurance on whether or not they will cover it.
Yeah.
It's a prior authorization process.
Okay. So for me, because I'm on disability with my chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, my Medicare did cover it, and it cost me about $1,000, give or take, for the treatment. $1,000, $1,500, I can't remember exactly. For Mike, off-label, because we don't have insurance, we just have catastrophe, it was around $3,000 for him. So just so you guys know on price, that's about what it is. Now, I would say it's definitely worth the money. I mean, we both, in treating this, for both of us, our different stuff, we have probably spent $40,000 to $50,000 since we've been married, minimum. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was closer to 60, but between counseling and stuff like EMDR and medications and going to the doctor and all that kind of stuff, just different, diets, even supplements, all that kind of stuff. We've tried it all. And this is actually the first one that really has made a significant difference. It's all kind of helped a little bit along the way, but this is the first one that we've noticed that's made a significant difference. Now, how long does this last? Like, if you go in for the 6 weeks and you get your treatment, are you good for the rest of your life?
Probably not. But their studies have been done that show, they did a study of, I believe, 99 patients who received TMS treatments. And after 1 year, 61% still maintain benefit.
Well, that's pretty good.
And the insurance typically will pay for 2 series in a year.
Okay.
So, if you need another booster series or if you need a full series 3 to 6 months out, they will cover it. In fact, I have a patient who did the full series. She got not quite to remission, which I tried to get her some extra sessions, but insurance wouldn't do it. And then 3 months later, she relapsed to where she was before the treatments, and they then pre-authorized her to get a whole nother series.
So she had to just do a whole nother set again? And did that hold then? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so she got all the way to remission the second time.
So don't get frustrated if it doesn't work right away. Maybe you need to do a little bit more and keep going. And
this was someone who'd been depressed her entire life, and nothing had really given her relief. So one of my more severe patients.
Okay.
So in our clinic, we've had 100% of people who are getting TMS for treatment-resistant depression improve. That means 50% of their symptoms, at least 50%, go away, and 87% remit. So that means they no longer feel depressed. And we measure that by a screen that's objective. The patient completes it. It's called the PHQ-9, frequently used for such purposes.
Okay, so how does this exactly work? Because you put on this helmet, you feel like a woodpecker's pecking on your head, kind of. It doesn't hurt. It's not painful. It's just kind of a weird sensation. But how exactly does it work?
Sure. So there's a coil of wires inside the helmet. And so there are 2 different types of devices. There's the brain sway device, which has the H coil. And that coil shape is unique. And then there's the figure 8 coil. We use the brain sway device. And what happens is when electricity is pumped through those wires, then it forms that electric field, and that electric field generates the current that causes that mild stimulation in the brain in the left dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. That's the area of the brain responsible for depression.
Okay. And so it's not like electric shock like you see in the movies or anything.
No.
This is not like that at all. You put on a helmet and basically it just feels like it's tapping on your head. Mm-hmm. Kind of like a woodpecker, because it's more than just a tap, but it's not like being hit in the head with a hammer either. I mean, it's just...
It's stimulating some of the muscles involved there.
Yeah.
That's why it feels like it's tapping. But the actual, so the tapping you can feel that on the right, but the actual stimulation for the depression is actually stronger on the left. There is some mild stimulation on the right, but the actual part that's treating the depression is more focused on the left.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, did I forget anything? Or I think, is that about it? All right. So guys, if you've had depression and you've tried all kinds of things and it doesn't work, you might give TMS a try. I'll be honest, I was skeptical. As I said, I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars doing this, trying to make me feel better. There's just something with people in chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia that causes their brains to not process correctly, and nobody knows what it is. But this really has significantly helped me, and it's significantly helped Mike. And so we're really glad that we did spend the money on this and do it. And, of course, talk to your doctor. I am not a doctor. This is not a sponsored post. I just did it because we have so many people on our channel that have this type of a problem, and they just can't seem to get any help. And so I've had lots of questions. What is it? How does it work? So I thought I'd just share my experience. This is just my experience. So anyway, if you're in the Colorado area, northern Colorado in Fort Collins, Dr. George was great. I absolutely loved her. So thank you so much. Even if you have to drive from Cheyenne or even Pueblo, I would say it's worth it. And it was a lot. For me, it was a bit of a drive, but it was definitely worth it. And we are certainly feeling a whole lot better. So if you guys have a problem with getting your depression treated and under control, you might just give this a try and see. I would certainly say it's worth a try. Please visit us at livingonadime.com, and we will see you guys next time.
And if you'd like to check out our TMS website, it's brighterdaytms.com. Thank you.
Bye, guys.